This is a quick video to distract me from the interminably boring task of sanding the carved body. Running out of patience on that one. 2.5 hours carving last night and an hour and a half sanding today. I need something to distract me. So I just thought I'd make a video. I'm going to show you a fretting technique now that my hammer has arrived. So this is just a wee scrap piece from one of my neck laminates. What I've done is slotted it. This slot here was one of my initial tests just to see how deep to set gauge on my fret saw. That's to suit the tang, which is the wee barbed sticky out bit at the bottom of the fret wire. The top bit's called the crown, I think. So I cut a different slot to show you today because this slot's been widened because I've pulled out a piece. So we've cut a piece of fret wire, and when you're cutting your fret wire, you're going to want to cut it 1/8 of an inch or 3 mil extra on either side. I like to mix metric and imperial to maximize the chances of making mistakes. Not really. Anyway, then because there is a radius put on this, we're going to want to bend this fret wire. So I just very gently bend it with my thumb. Some people may prefer to use pliers. The idea of that is to keep the corners into the fret and the middle high, which will explain itself now. I'm using quite a small plastic faced mallet. It's maybe a little small, but it's better for concentrating force. So what we're going to do is start at the edges to seat the fret. Okay, so that's it. Seated. It's sitting high in the middle. Now we work from the edges to the middle, edges to the middle, and we're going to keep reapplying, hammering to the edges, because if these pull out, you may as well take the wire out and start again. Okay. Well, one thing to note is I normally put a line of super glue along these when I'm doing the actual fret. That's just a fail-safe. It's maybe me being a wee bit overprotective. Quite good. Now, on this example, when I radiused it, it only got the edges. I was just in a rush, so the middle's flat, so there is maybe 1/5 to 1/10 of a millimeter of a gap along there. Now with a totally nicely radiused board, that'll not exist. Okay, now things to look out for when you're fretting. If you're fretting, start at the edges, as I said before. Then, also worth noting is if you're going to hammer it too hard, this will dent. This is only nickel. You can ruin the fret wire quite easily. And if you get the edges in and you go straight to the middle, you're going to put a kink in the middle, and you'll never be able to hammer that out. You will either notice that when you go to stone the board with an oil stone to level it, in which case there'll be more of some parts of it worn down more than others, or you will notice it at the very start. The best thing to do is to try and gently pull the fret wire out and start again, because it's ruined. That is not good fretting. I think just work slowly and light taps. You're not trying to break this, and even taps. This plastic face mallet, this is actually the first time I've used this on the video and in real life, and it's nice because it's the crown of this is totally preserved. What I was doing in the past was using a small pin hammer, which might be to hand. Yes. I was using a small pin hammer, and I was using a piece of wood as a punch, basically, and that was okay, but the wood would dent and split, even though it was maple quite often. It's just not as controllable, so the wee plastic face hammer is totally good, and that does a good job. I'm going to move on to fretting this guitar. You can see the carved top that I'm currently working on. It doesn't look like about 4 or 5 hours work, but it sure was. And that's the first use of my homemade plane. I've taken the blade out at the moment. I was using that as a scraper earlier. But this worked super. This was very good. And the proof of some of my work. Lots of dust.